The Ray completes Sonos' soundbar offerings for 2022, but is it all that it's cracked up to be? Hey team, I'm Josh. In this video we'll discuss who the soundbar is targeted at, whether the lack of HDMI ARC is a deal breaker for you, and some helpful information you should know before buying. Let's get to it. Here's a very quick product overview if this is the first video you've seen. The Ray is Sonos' cheapest and smallest soundbar, coming in at $279 and is only 56cm wide. It's a 2-channel soundbar, has AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, and is controlled through the S2 app. There's no microphone for voice assistance or physical remote. On the Ray you get both Ethernet and optical ports, but no HDMI. That brings me to my first point. Is having only an optical port a deal breaker, and what does that mean for usability? For many people with soundbars that have an HDMI ARC port, optical is only really used if ARC is giving them problems, as one of the major benefits of using HDMI is the control over the soundbar. So when you turn on the TV, the soundbar wakes up, and you can change the volume all through the TV remote, as well as enabling higher end audio formats such as Dolby Atmos. Sonos includes a really cool feature in all of its current soundbars called TV Autoplay. When an optical cable is connected and the TV is turned on, the soundbar will wake up and automatically change to the TV source if it was recently playing music. There is also an ungroup on autoplay setting which will disconnect the Ray from other grouped Sonos speakers when the TV is turned on. So say you have a Sonos ARC in the lounge and a Ray in the bedroom, grouped together playing the same music. If you switch on the bedroom TV, it will ungroup those two speakers and play the TV audio through the Ray. This is very handy if you're wanting to set up a whole home audio system with Sonos. Through ARC, you also get the TV remote controlling the soundbar's volume. If you have a remote that operates through an infrared signal, an easy way to verify this is use your phone's camera, point it at the end of the remote and then change the volume. If you see a light flashing, then it uses IR, and you can teach the Ray your TV's IR code through the Sonos app. For Samsung and LG TVs that have a Bluetooth remote, there's often an area in your TV you can set up a universal control to force your remote to output the correct IR codes for Sonos. If neither of those methods work for you, then you can adjust the volume in the S2 app. The other major benefit of ARC is higher end audio formats, but optical still supports up to Dolby's 5.1 surround sound, which is all the Ray is capable of receiving anyway. I think it would have been nice for Sonos to include a standard ARC connection. It didn't need to be eARC like the Beam Gen 2, but just something that's better than optical, which at this point has been around for almost 40 years. Adding in those features like TV autoplay and IR learning helps with the lack of an HDMI port, but when comparing against the competition, like JBL, they all have ARC. It's a play by Sonos to make sure it still sells the Beam, but it's pretty stink for the end user. I use the Sonos ARC as my main soundbar paired with the Sub Gen 3 and a set of ones, so when I initially had to listen to the Ray by itself, I found it quite underwhelming. I'm guessing most of you considering the soundbar as your main speaker will be comparing it to your TV speakers. The issue with TVs nowadays is that they keep trying to make them thinner and thinner, and the speakers is where they ultimately compromise. TVs 50 inches and smaller, which this soundbar is ideally meant for, have the worst speakers when compared to their larger counterparts. When comparing it to say my Samsung 55 inch, it was a night and day difference. It had a deeper low end and the voices were much clearer. All the things you'd expect from spending an extra $280 on top of the price of your TV. Even though this soundbar is lacking a center channel, they still included a dialogue mode that pronounces the mids and highs a little bit better. I put the soundbar up against the Sonos one since they're not too dissimilar in price, and the Ray was noticeably better with vocals and overall tonality. One quirk I found was that the volume didn't go as high as I'd like when watching content through my TV, even compared to the Sonos one. If you're going to buy the soundbar, then don't expect blockbuster movies to fill your room, it's just not that powerful. I definitely found the soundstage to be narrow and lacking in depth. I suppose there's only so much you can do with 2 channels. That leads me on to the additional products you can purchase with this soundbar. Currently there's 2 main products, the Sonos Sub for deeper bass and Sonos Ones for surround sound. The Sub makes any Sonos speaker sound so much better, but at $749, I doubt many people will pair them together. There is a mini sub rumored to be announced sometime soon, and if they could bring the price down to around $250 to $300, then I think it'll be worth it. But as it currently stands, the full-size sub just doesn't make any sense. If this is going to be your main soundbar, then the Sonos One SLs would add to the spaciousness, and at $398 for the pair, they're not too far out price-wise against the Ray. So who is this ideally for? Well, here's a few different situations of people who would buy this soundbar. First of all, it's perfect for a bedroom TV, especially at this price point. I'm guessing most people with a TV in their bedroom have one between 32 to 49 inches, and this soundbar will look proportionately right with that size TV. Those who want a small format speaker to give you better sound over the TV speakers, but not overcrowd the entertainment unit. This will easily fit under most TVs, even of the smaller variety due to the low slope profile. If you're on a tight budget wanting to get into the Sonos ecosystem, but it also gives you the ability to upgrade your setup by adding the ones and the mini sub in the future. And finally, it makes for awesome PC speakers if your computer has an optical port, plus it can sit nicely under your monitor. With all that being said, if you don't mind buying secondhand and you want better sound for the same money, then look into the Beam Gen 1. You can quite easily find them on eBay for a similar price, as people are selling their Beam 1s and upgrading to the Beam 2 or going straight to the ARC. The original Beam is still a great soundbar and holds up against the Ray, but has HDMI, a center channel, well-rounded sound, and all at a similar price. Now here's a few things that might be helpful. First, the mounting threads on the rears are M5s and can be paired with a soundbar bracket like this one, linked down below, for hanging under your TV if it's on a cantilever bracket. Otherwise, I'm sure there'll be great third-party fixed wall mounts on Amazon that come well under the price of the official Sonos one. Once you've set up the Ray and connected it to your TV, if you're still not getting any audio, then make sure you've selected the TV audio source and set up your TV to process the signal through PCM. And lastly, if you're not so interested in the smart features and you want more of a basic bar that gives you great clear sound, Bluetooth, a physical remote, and HDMI ARC, then you can check out the JBL 2.0 for $170. With that, I'll be putting the Ray up against the Beam Gen 2 in a video coming soon. Leave any of your questions for that comparison in the comments and subscribe if that interests you. Anyway, that's all from me. See you guys soon.